In this video, we're going to run some tests to figure out whether the new model Gemini 3.5 Flash or Gemini 3.1 Pro is actually better for your daily stuff. Which one can you rely on with confidence to get your tasks done? Gemini 3.1 Pro recently got thinking levels added right in the Gemini chat browser. So we're going to test all of that. All right, so here's the plan. We're going to pit Gemini 3.5 Flash against Gemini 3.1 Pro. Same prompt, same challenge. Build a full interactive 3D solar system in one standalone HTML file. So we're cranking both models up to extended and seeing who actually delivers. Let's find out. So this is what we got from Gemini 3.1 Pro with extended thinking level. And it looks okay. I mean, we can see the planets. Their moons are in there too. So now let's see what Gemini 3.5 Flash gave us. So we don't actually get what we wanted, just a blank black screen. But here's the thing. I ran this exact same prompt last month with models like Claude Opus 4.7. So check this out. All right, next test. Same deal. Single HTML file, Three.js via CDN. But this time we're building a complete first-person survival shooter called Abandoned. Let's see what we got. So the game actually opens. We can move around, pull the trigger. It shoots, there's sound. I can see batteries lying around, but no enemies. And the movement is super slow. Honestly, this is a really bad game developer. Now let's run the same prompt on Gemini 3.1 Pro. I don't see the batteries or ammo that are supposed to be in the game. The whole point is that when it gets dark, your character needs to scavenge for batteries and find ammunition to survive. So both Gemini models completely failed this test. They're just not good at this kind of thing. Now let me show you what I got from Claude Opus 4.7. And honestly, it's still the best result I've seen. Let's open the game Abandoned. Here are the controls. Use the 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys to switch weapons, WASD to move around, R to reload, and the spacebar to jump. Let's go. Here's what I'm up against. I'm stuck in this abandoned house with only a pistol. To survive, I have to push from room to room in the dark, killing monsters to gain XP and power. I have to keep my eyes peeled for ammo and blue batteries, because if my flashlight dies, it will be dark, and I can hardly see. Leveling up is my only way to heal and unlock the heavy weapons I need to clear the floor. Once I survive this level, I have to find the way deeper down into the house. I'm on floor 2 now. Let's grab the shotgun. You can cycle through all your guns using 1 to 4, but I've only unlocked these 2 so far. So, I've got the better weapons now, but the monsters are getting way more aggressive and more damage. This has been a solid test of the model's game dev capabilities. So as you can see, Claude does a lot better. The Gemini models are nowhere near this. Not everyone's using AI for coding, but almost everyone needs AI for daily tasks. The problem is, AI usually gives generic advice or just hallucinates, and you don't get real help that actually helps you. So this test is about who can really help. I wanted to see which model gives useful, real-world advice. I grabbed a real Upwork job posting, took a screenshot, and I'm going to ask each model the same thing. Hello, could you look over this Upwork job description to see if it's actually worth applying for? Let me know if I should bid, and please help me write a winning proposal to get an interview. So now let's check what each one gave us. So here's what Gemini 3.1 Pro came back with. It starts off decent, notes the 4.9-star rating. Verified payment says competition's lower because it's a niche skill. But then it actually digs into the money. The client posted $15 to $35 an hour, but their history shows they only pay about $10 an hour on average. They've spent 1.1K across 28 hires total, which works out to less than $40 per hire. So 3.1 Pro is basically saying, this client wants expert work at bargain rates. Its advice on whether to apply kinda generic. It says go for it only if you already have a similar workflow or a strong portfolio piece ready to show. And it says it's probably not worth it since the job is 2 weeks old. The client might not even check the proposals anymore. Though it did make a valid point that they care more about your cover letter and portfolio than paying for boosted placement. Now, 3.5 Flash, it hits the same basics, 4.9 stars, 12 reviews, all that, but it caught something 3.1 Pro completely missed, the low hire rate. That's a big red flag on Upwork, and Flash actually flagged it. So at this point, both models are giving valid advice. If you don't know Upwork or how to win jobs there, you could get some genuinely useful tips from either one. But 3.1 Pro's advice somehow still feels more generic. Now let's look at the actual proposals they wrote for us, starting with Gemini 3.1 Pro. I can build and deploy the production-ready Comfy UI and LTX video workflow you need for long-form, consistent avatar generation. It basically just repeats what the client already said in the job post. It's just, I can do exactly what you asked for. That's it. Now look at what Gemini 3.5 Flash wrote. Building long-form video with strict character and scene consistency in Comfy UI requires a structured pipeline, not just a single seed-locked prompt. See the difference? This one actually points out what needs to be done. It shows you understand the challenge, not just that you're saying, yes, I can do this. Think about it this way. If a job post says, I need someone to create my cover songs using Suno AI, and one proposal says, I can help you create cover songs with Suno AI, while another says, to create cover songs with Suno, you'll need a paid account that lets you generate up to 8-minute-long tracks. Which one is better? The second one, obviously, because you're giving the client more of what they actually need, not just repeating back their own words. That's exactly why 3.5 Flash's proposal is way better than 3.1 Pro's generic one. Any client would open Flash's proposal over that copy-paste response from Pro. And it's not just the intro. Even in the body of the proposal, 3.5 Flash is way better at hitting the client's pain points and addressing what the workflow actually needs. Now, I'm not saying the technical instructions Flash gave for building the workflow are 100% correct, but as an Upwork proposal meant to win the job, Flash's version is definitely much better. Look at how it ends. It doesn't just sign off. It leaves the client with a question that triggers them to actually respond, not just open and read it. So it acts like a real expert who knows how to close. That's really impressive. Now let's run a vision test. I opened one of Tesla's report PDFs and took a screenshot. The text is pretty far and honestly hard to read just by looking at it. Now I'm going to ask each model the same thing. Write out all the text, numbers, and everything else that is present in this picture. They'll have to transcribe everything they see in the image. Let's see who actually gets it right. So on the left, that's Gemini 3.1 Pro, and the text transcription is actually correct, in millions of USD or shares as applicable, except per share data. Yeah, that's all accurate so far. And on the right side, that's Gemini 3.5 Flash. It got it correct too. But look at the right side of the image. It says Q1 2025, Q2 2025, Q3 2025, and Gemini 3.1 Pro wrote Q1 2023, Q2 2023, Q3 2023, Q4 2023, Q1 2024. And if we look at what Gemini 3.5 Flash gave us, it's correct all the way through. Q1 2025, Q2 2025, Q3 2025, Q4 2025, Q1 2026, all accurate. And now if we look further down the image, where it says automotive sales, followed by 12,925, 15,787, 20,3059, 16,750, 15,473. Gemini 3.1 Pro somehow transcribed that as 18,878, 20,419, 18,582, 20,630, 16,460. Completely different numbers, it's just making stuff up at this point. And let's look at Gemini 3.5 Flash. It transcribed it as automotive sales, 19,931, 18,797, 20,119, 20,730, 19,428. So it got the headers right earlier, but the actual numbers? Also completely wrong. Just made up its own set of numbers. Neither model can actually read the fine print in this PDF. And when we scroll down further, it's the same story. Both models completely butchered every number in there, just made up random figures across the board. So if you're wondering which one to actually use, Gemini 3.5 Flash is the better pick. Whether it's daily tasks, getting actual helpful advice, or even vision stuff, it's just more reliable. So if you're sticking with Google models, go with 3.5 Flash for now. It's the one you can actually trust and rely on in Google's lineup. So that's it for today's video. We tested the new Google models, Gemini 3.5 Flash and Gemini 3.1 Pro, with that new thinking level added. See you in the next one.